Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for our first daily dose of Dominaria Remastered spoilers. So, by surprise, it's spoiler season again. I didn't think we were getting spoilers till after the holidays, but then Wizards were like, hey, guess what? We're gonna spoil all of Dominaria Remastered in the next 2 days, and that means we get a ton of really sweet stuff to talk about. So Dominaria Remastered, it's a full reprint set. If you remember Time Spiral Remastered, it's essentially that, but instead of being Time Spiral cards, these are cards from any Dominaria set throughout Magic's history. So we're going back to Alpha, really? There's Alpha cards in here. So a ton of reprints from across the ages of Magic, focused on things from the Dominaria plane. And if you remember Double Masters 2022 spoiler season over the summer, since DMR is a reprint set, we're going to handle it kind of the same way. So rather than talking about, oh, this card goes here, this goes there, they're all reprints. We know what they do. They know where we go. We're going to do a tier list and basically focus on the value of the reprints. So you can see, here's the $50 to $100 cards that were previewed today. Here's the $25 to $50 cards that were previewed today. And then talk a little bit about some of the art and some of that stuff along the way. So that is the plan for today. We are tier ranking the reprints of day one of Dominaria Remastered spoilers. Also worth mentioning, this entire spoiler season, 2 days. We get spoilers today, spoilers tomorrow, and the full set will be out. So we'll have the full set by tomorrow. So shout out to Wizards for speeding things up, I guess, a bit, instead of dragging it out and keeping us in constant spoiler season. So before we jump into it, a quick reminder, if you need some DMR cards, you can get them from our awesome sponsor Card Kingdom over at cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish. Anyway, let's tier rank today's reprints from Dominaria Remastered. So before we get into our Dominaria Remastered reprint tier list itself, a couple of quick notes. One is, for many of these cards, there's actually 3 different versions in the set. The normal version, the retro version, and then a borderless version that gets alternate art, like as you can see here with Urza, Lord High Artificer. So as we go through the tier list, we're just using the normal version, and that means a couple of things. One is, if you want to see all the versions, you should head over to mtgpreviews.com where you can see them all listed on the site. Number 2 is, when we talk about prices, we're going by the cheapest existing printing of a normal version of the card. So for Urza, it's like $53 or something like that. The borderless version with unique art, it's probably worth a little bit more than that. So keep that in mind. This isn't a real full EV breakdown because it's not really taking into account all the different versions that exist in these packs, but I figured it was worth clarifying that real quick. Also, as a refresher, there's a handful of cards that were sneak peek early previewed like a month or 2 ago, including Force of Will, which is still the most valuable card I think in the entire set at like $90. So these aren't going to be in our tier list today because we're only talking about the cards that were previewed today, but I did want to mention these cards because Force of Will is definitely like an S tier card for sure just because it's so valuable, and Sneak Attack, Time Stretch, even Birds of Paradise, Aboria are fairly valuable cards as well. But with that out of the way, let's jump into our Dominaria Remastered reprint tier list. So standing alone in the S tier, which is cards that are $50 to $100, we have Urza, Lord High Artificer, which actually just sneaks into this tier. It's like $53 or something like that, retail prices. But Urza is a really powerful card. It's a popular and potentially brutal commander, depending on how you build around it. It's a modern staple, so a really, really solid reprint that'll hopefully make modern and some commander decks a little bit cheaper. In the A tier, which is cards that are $25 to $50, we actually have a massive list of cards. Some of them are legit staples. Looking at like Yawgmoth, just over $40, one of the best cards in Modern, has a whole deck built around it. Vampiric Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Sylvan Library, really heavily played in Commander. Entomb sees a bunch of Legacy play and also Commander play. So these are all cards that have a high price, mostly in the $40-ish price range for most of these cards. And their price is mostly because there's a lot of demand for these cards. Many players want Urzas in Sylvan Libraries, in the Tutors, in the Entombs. On the other hand, there's also 3 cards in this tier that are currently like $40-ish, $45, that are mostly expensive because they just haven't been reprinted, even though no one really plays them. One of those is No Mercy, which I think I've seen Crim play like once or twice on Commander. When a creature deals damage to you, you gotta destroy it on a 4-mana enchantment. This is expensive because it's from Urza's Destiny, I want to say, one of the Urza sets like 20 years ago, and it just hasn't been reprinted. So this will likely drop in price quite a bit because there's not a lot of demand for it. Speaking of that, the same is true of Urza's Incubator, which I had no idea is like a $40 card. That's another card that that I never see anyone play. It technically can double ramp you for creature spells of a certain type, so I could see it seen playing like a commander tribal deck or something, but really people just don't play this card. So it's another card that is mostly expensive because it's super scarce rather than because it's in demand. And the best example of this is definitely Last Chance. Another one of those 2-mana red extra turn spells, but you lose the game at the end of that turn. Last Chance was printed in like starter 99, and it's just like really scarce. It's super rare. There's not many copies of this out there, and it is going to crash hard from $45, probably down under $5. We actually saw this happen not that long ago with Warrior's Oath, which was reprinted in a master set. Before that, it was like a $500 card or something absurd because it was only in Portal, but now it's currently like $4 or something. So I expect the same is true of Last Chance. So a good reminder that these prices are based on current prices of the cheapest existing versions of these cards, not the prices that these cards are going to be going forward now that they're reprinted. If I had to guess, I would say like No Mercy, Urza's Incubator, Last Chance, these cards are going to crash and crash pretty hard, even though they're at Mythic, from something like $40 down to $10, maybe $15, even less than that in the case of Last Chance. On the other hand, the Yawgmoths and Vampiric Tutors and Sylvan Libraries, and even like Enlightened Tutor and Entomb, which are printed at rare, yeah, they'll drop, but these are the kind of cards that'll probably bounce back up in price pretty quickly because a lot of people actually want to play with these cards. Moving on to the B tier, which are cards in the $10 to $25 range. We got Dark Depths, Hunting Grounds at Mythic, and then a bunch of rares in this tier, like Chainer Dimension Master. I didn't realize it's like a $13 card now. Overmaster, that's another one that's like $12, even though no one really plays it. Exploration, actually legit legacy stable. Mystical Tutor, around $20. Oversold Cemetery gets the double reprint. It just came back in Jumpstart, and now it's coming back again in Dominaria Remastered. So a pretty solid mid-tier range, and I'm especially excited to see a lot of rares on this list. When you consider that boxes are right now around $250-ish, you really need to open some pretty decent rares in your packs to make a box worthwhile. And seeing Explorations and Mystical Tutors and some of the A-tier stuff we talked about, like Enlightened Tutor and Entomb, coming in at rare is a pretty big deal, although it is awkward that Vampiric Tutor, for some reason, is a Mythic when the rest of the Tutor cycle is at rare. I don't know about that one. In the C tier, which is $5 to $10 cards, 4 options, all of them Mythics, which, yeah, I mean, not horrible Mythics to open, but also not something you're going to be excited to crack in a above averagely costed pack. Not Collector, it's like $10-ish. I've never seen anyone play this card, but the art's hilarious, and if you want to play Squirrel Tribal, it's really good. World Gorger Dragon used to be banned in a bunch of places because you can combo really easily by reanimating with Animate Dead, and it loops all your stuff, and you make infinite mana and win the game. And I gotta give a shout out to the borderless art on World Gorger Dragon. Not only is the art maybe the best art in the set, I think this might be in the running for best Magic art of the year. Just World Gorger wrapping itself around the entire world is such a spectacular piece of Magic art. Gauntlet of Power used to be expensive, but then it showed up in Times Power Remastered, and now again in Dominaria Remastered, which is awesome because its price is down to like $6, and it is legitimately awesome in monocolored commander decks. And Lyra Dawnbringer, another card that just got reprinted in Jumpstart, so the double trouble reprint of the Mythic Angel, dropping its price down quite a bit if you want to use it in Angel, Tribal, and Commander. In the D tier, which is $2 to $5 cards, so just above bulk, a couple of sad Mythics. Kamal, Fist of Crows, a legacy weapon, although I will give Wizards a little bit of credit here. I think that Kamal and Legacy Weapon are the kind of cards that can legitimately be pretty busted in Limited, so even though they're not expensive, they are kind of iconic Dominaria cards, so putting them at Mythic for the sake of Limited, I think makes sense, even though they're not the kind of cards you really want to crack at Mythic in your pack. Also in the D tier, we got our land cycle from the set, which there were some rumblings and hopes that maybe it would be something like fetch lands, but it's the enemy buddy lands. They're all right around the $4 to $5 range. They were most recently reprinted in Dominaria, so these are fine lands. Like, they're decent lands. They're definitely not super high-end lands by any stretch, though, although there is one reason that I'm super hyped for these lands, which is we're getting old border versions of all of them, and I would not be surprised if these old border versions actually commanded a bit of a premium, because some players really like old border, and while these cards certainly aren't modern staples, they do show up on the fringes of formats like modern, and more maybe in a format like Pioneer, and certainly in a lot of commander decks. So hopefully this reprint gets our price down even more to make them more accessible for like $100 budget decks, and I'm hyped to see old border versions for the first time. Speaking of lands, we're getting some sweet retro basics where Wizards took some of the most iconic basic land art, the Lightning Plains, Urza's Saga Forest, the amazing John Avon Mirage Mountain, and they're reprinting them with the retro border, so these lands look kind of amazing. I believe that you get one like normal in every draft pack of Dominaria Remastered, and then if you buy collector boosters, you can get foils of these. So really sweet to see some of the best looking and most iconic basic lands coming back with the proper border for the first time ever. And then in the F tier, which is the bulk tier range, and again, this is not about the power level of these cards, it's purely about the price of these cards. So I'm not saying that Grim Lavamancer is a bad card, it's just not a valuable card, and if you're cracking expensive booster boxes of Dominaria Remastered, you're hoping to get some value out of it, along with fun and playability. But we got one mythic, the worst mythic of the set by far, Sarah Avatar. I don't know why Wizards reprints this card so much. I feel like every other reprint set there's a Sarah Avatar, although I've never seen anyone play this card in literally any format, including Commander. It's like 70 cents or something. So this is the Tree of Redemption. This is the card you do not want to open at Mythic in your Dominaria Remastered packs. And then like Shivan Dragon, Royal Assassin, Grim Lavamancer, not worth much, but they are super iconic. So we'll give them a pass. Same with Arcanus, Denizen of the Deep. I got no idea why they reprinted that one. I guess it's supposed to be for the Blink archetype in Limited, but do you really want to bounce all your stuff back to your hand? So that is the F tier, mostly rares thankfully, but one mythic in the mix. Also, as far as commons and uncommons, value-wise, the only thing really notable is Nature's Lore, which is down to like $2 because it got reprinted in one of the Commander Legends sets, but still, this is one of the best RAM spells in the Commander format. Seeing it reprinted again and again and again is a great thing, because this is the kind of card we want to be worth literally nothing. We want anyone to access this card, to be able to play it in their Commander decks, so getting another reprint with sweet art is definitely a good thing. So that's a tier list. Also wanted to shout out just some of the spectacular border list art. We talked about World Order Dragon a little bit, but a lot of this border list art is really stunning. Like, just look at how deranged Nut Collector is in that extended border version, the borderless version. Grim Lavamancer looks amazing, and then the Tutor cycle brought back iconic OG Magic artist Richard King Ferguson, who has a super unique style, and those tutors, Mystical, Enlightened, and Vampiric. Again, a little weird that the rarity is mixed, but they all look absolutely amazing. So if you want to see all the borderless art, all the different artists that were brought back to do this set, definitely head over to mtgpreviews.com where you can see all of it. So anyway, that is our Dominaria Remastered reprint tier list for today. So I gotta say, I think this set looks awesome. I was already hyped about this set. I love Time's Power Remastered, and I think that Dominaria Remastered is just going to be better. The value's looking good. I did some quick back of the napkin math. It seems like right now, at current prices, average mythic value is like $27, which is not bad. If you're getting like 4 or 5 of those per box, that's going to be, what, almost $150 right there. Then we talked about some of the really high-end rares, the Enlightened Tutor, Mystical Tutors, and then that's not even including the chance that you can get an expensive borderless version or retro version or a foil of one of those. So it seems like the value is going to be good, and this is also just bringing back some really important reprints for Commander and even for Modern. I'm impressed to see like Urza and Yawgmoth, some of these cards that were making Modern decks too expensive, seeing them reprinted hopefully will bring the price down. The only question is, will Wizards print enough of it? That's my one question. With Time's Power Remastered, that set was universally beloved. Everyone loved Time's Power Remastered. The problem is, Wizards, I think, underestimated how much everyone would love it, and they just didn't print very much of it. So supply ran out really quickly. Prices climbed, no one could get boxes, or they were really expensive. So hopefully Wizards learned their lesson and actually prints enough of this, because if everyone can get this set at a reasonable price, it seems spectacular. So anyway, everyone, let me know what you're thinking. What are you hyped for? What are you not hyped for? Are you picking up this set? Are you not picking up this set? What art is your favorite? What reprint are you most psyched for? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will be back tomorrow with one more DMR reprint tier list. We get the full set tomorrow, 2-day spoiler season. Wizards really picking up the pace. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you tomorrow for more DMR tier list spoilers. So until then, have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.